discontinuities. We have 3 more panels to go for LSA. So we're still on tomorrow. We have 2 panels tomorrow, and we have 1 more on Saturday. LSA almost was on Sunday. There was if there was going to be panels on that day, maybe we could have put on Sunday. So the first panelist here, she's there. Okay. She will be here. She's talking to me, so that means. But let me call our panelist. Our first panelist is Simone Bakari. Alongside, are you there? Simone Bakari. Maybe they're not the one. Oh, I knew that was coming because of the spelling. But the spelling is correct, right? All right, can you call it for me? Can you pronounce the name? Ismail. See how this is about my university. There and there. You spelled it right. Smile. This is smile. I see recently that people with Arabic names are very keen on making us pronounce it very good. I have a student who always wants to say, "I am Russell." But then it's interesting, we're learning the real pronunciation of these things. And alongside our chair, Dr. Ismail, Dr. Bakari will be presents the paper titled "Repeat the word Jagu Jagu." I look forward to this paper. The name itself is Revising Fostering Continuities in African Knowledge through Dialogic Expose. Lisa, can you come and find us here? Please, let's clap for him. You're not that? Okay, you are not the one. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's see whether we have not yet. So you are our lady. Let it not be that we are still in another panel. I want to be sure we are still on our panel. Okay, so the second presenter is Oluwabumilayo. She was with us yesterday, and she brought in really interesting insights. The role of educators in shaping African education. Please have me check Oluwabumilayo. She's in Canada. She's in already. Can you hear us? Okay. Dr. Yetunde, how are you? Good. Good what?
Good afternoon, ma.
Good. How are you today?
I'm very fine, thank you, ma. How are you too?
I'm good. Thank you so much for everything. And then
yes,
your co-panelist, your co-presenter.
I'm trying to send him a message now because he's supposed to join on Zoom as well. Hopefully the network is not disturbing.
Check on him. Thank you. And then
yes, ma'am.
Madam Busola Bumilayo.
One attendee is in the waiting room. Yeah, one attendee is in the waiting room. Maybe they need to allow them in.
Please help check the waiting room. All right.
So she's here, then I'll just come with my co-presenter.
So we have that. Madam Oluwabumilayo is the proprietor of iThriveOnWisdom.com. Can look her up. So the top paper, Digital Divide Among Academic Staff in Nigerian University, is by Festus Olafare, Dr. Festus Olafare. He's joining online and he's doing this alongside Fumilayo Ojeride from FCU Technical. Then the last, but not the least, Dr. Gloria and Gloria Okunlola was here last year. We did together. Educators as ethical architects, academic dishonesty, social anxiety, and institutional intervention in African universities. Oluwashara, and Julia Albo. We are fortunate to have her in the room. Please let's jam our hands together for her. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So yes, she's the fourth presenter. So the first, second, and third presenter is online. Let me see. I want to see if I can read their. Is Dr. Bakari online?
He isn't here yet, but while we wait for him, I think I can go ahead, and when he comes in, he can jump in, probably because of network in Nigeria.
That would be very good.
But I spoke with him a few. He's here. We've been waiting for you.
So you.
Listen to yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Let us know if it is you. Bakare Ismail is a postgraduate student at the University of Ilorin, pursuing Yoruba linguistics in the Department of Yoruba. He's a prolific writer, having authored numerous interest works in prose drama and poetry. You're welcome, Dr. Bakare.
Thank you, ma. I really appreciate that. This is Mr. Bakari, ma.
All right, sir. And let us know when you become doctor. So we ask for our jollof rice. All right.
Okay, thank you, ma.
Layo BDK is a Nigerian Canadian educator, publisher, and entrepreneur. She leads Hello Publications and Thrive on Entrepreneur, mentoring emerging faith-based writers and leaders. Her work promotes African epistemology and storytelling as a means of cultural education and empowerment. She said we should learn more at www.liobk.com. You're welcome, Madam Oluwabusayo. Thanks for being here. And then, Dr. Gloria Kunlola is a lecturer too in educational psychology at Obafemi Awolowo University. It's academic qualification in business education, psychology, and a PhD in psychology of education. Her research focuses on health in education, social functioning, student-teacher competence, psychological well-being, and psychological well-being. She has experience in both teaching research and financial management. She's a fellow of IFA Institute of Advanced Studies 2023. Recently completed a diploma in bioethics to strengthen her ethical research practice. She's one of the awardees of LSA 2025 AI Literacy Teaching Workshop and an active member of several professional bodies. Thank you, Dr. Abel. You challenged me to take it very hot. I mean, we just finished AI literacy and then it's already in biology. That's very interesting. So we go to the presentations now, and I'll be handing over to Dr. Alabede to continue from here. Are you there, ma?
Yes, I am. This doctor again today. Okay. So,
please hold on.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you. Dr. Ojani Depulai is presenting on behalf of co-presenting. Okay, yes, she's co-presenting with Dr. Olafari. Dr. Ojani Depulai, Mrs. Ojani Depulai is a lecturer at the Federal College of Education, Technical Akoka, and currently a doctoral student at the Faculty of Education, University of Lagos. Her academic interest lies in digitalization of higher education, with a focus on emerging technology and the entrepreneurial opportunities they offer. She's passionate about exploring innovative solutions that drives educational transformation and empowers knowledge-based economy. She puts a very, very inspiring say, learning is her hobby. Let's jam our hands together for her as she moves to Thank you. So, okay. So she will be calling those presenting. So, Madam Yetunde, we are ready for you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for.
We're not using sticky notes today. We're using our Mentimeter, right?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be using Mentimeter today, and we have the QR code on the wall, but I would also share the QR code if we need it. And our aim for that is to not only be able to like curate all the responses, but for us to get into thinking about what we are learning. So basically today, I'll quickly share the screen that has the QR code, and we have 3, 2, 1 prompts that we are expected to use. So the 3, 2, 1 prompt asks us to think about what we are taking away from the presentation in terms of what, can you see my screen now, please?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, 1 second, please. You should be able to see the QR code now, and it should work for everybody. Can you see the QR code now?
Not yet.
So can you see it? Is it working? So if we have it, it will show, we'll see the 3 prompts we are being asked there. And we'll definitely fill this out at the end of all presentations, which means that would also guide some questions that we may have, because the first one, the 3 things that we're learning, and we capitalize that, 2 things also that connect to our work, then 1 question we still have. So that will guide how we will moderate the session after all presentations today. But we wanted to be sure if that is working for everyone, the QR code. Please, is it working?
Not yet. I'm clicking on it, but it hasn't worked.
Okay. I can also send the link. Please let me know if it's not working, and I just opened it on my end here. We don't have to fill it now, but we want to have it handy. And when we finish all presentations, we will do it again. And also in the classroom there, we do have it posted on the wall, so we all have access to it.
I haven't been able to access it.
I will send you the soft copy, don't worry. If it's not, after the presentation, I'll send it to you, ma.
Thank you.
Can I stop sharing that?
Yes, it's on the wall. You can stop sharing so that we have enough time to have a conversation.
Yeah, for the presentation. Yeah. So, Dr. Mo, I want to be sure, do you want me to also introduce presenters? Because like right now, I am the first presenter with my co-presenter. So should we go ahead right away?
Introduce your co-presenter. And then we'll help you.
So my co-presenter. So on this panel, this is part 2 of the Teaching by Design panel. And our first presenter is Isimoil Bakare, who has been introduced already, and myself. So today we will be talking on a topic will be the world Jagun Jagun. Let me quickly share my screen again for you to go. Please, can you see the screen?
It's still coming up. Still coming up.
Okay, thank you. Oh, still coming up. Okay.
I can see it.
Oh, maybe their network in the room. Can you see it now? In the room. Because of time.
Not yet, not yet. Still coming up. Okay, we can see it now.
Okay, while it's coming. Can I continue? Okay. So I said I would like to say that this presentation is an opinion paper, and as such, we will bring out some excerpts. But one thing is, it may not follow what we are expecting, like, oh, research question, methodology, and everything. They are all weaved in the form of story, which we'll get to see. So here are some key concepts in our presentation. The first one is multilingualism. And when we think about this, it's thinking about what is common in Nigeria. So Ayobagboshe 2022 talks about African context where multilingualism is the norm. And that is the fluid role of different languages, English, Yoruba, Pidgin. And in this presentation, we are going to see that because it is one of the work that guides the presentation. Then, and been marginalized. And what does this mean? Most times, yesterday, you're using Osetu 2023 African oral tradition storytelling. So most of what we'll be doing today, we'll be going back and forth using conversation, using poems, and that is why we have it as dialogic expose, in the sense that Mr. Bakare is talking, I am talking. Again, this is true writing, but we are not just talking, we are revealing some things based on our reflection of what we have been indoctrinated to mean education. What does it mean? Why do we even say, is education the same as schooling? What are we taking out of it? And what does it mean to be jagun jagun? Is it about having the sword or wanting to fight? What does that mean in the context of schooling, in the context of African education, in the context of orality, in the context of also dismantling Eurocentric ways of being, whereby we all believe that we want to do the white collar thing. All of us must be in the office, which is okay. And to think in line with that is also now thinking critically about what I was saying earlier about the purpose of education. And we put education in quote here. We've had our ways of being, our ways of learning, whereby through observation, we learn through that, and it takes the village to educate us. But now, do we still have that? If we don't have that, what are the things we do? And in thinking about this tapestry of the purpose of our presentation in connection to education is why we also put it in conversation with our guiding question, which are: one, how are Nigerian teachers preparing learners to be self-reliant? And two, in what ways can reflexivity enhance deep-rooted purpose for self-reliance? And how did we come about self-reliance here? We connect it with what we have in the Nigerian national policy on education, whereby it says, I know we have the 5 national objectives. It just can't remember the first 4, but one thing is,
can she talk?
Yes.
That
is education for self-reliance. We are Nigerians. What does it mean to be self-reliant in Nigeria? Even though it talks about communality, we talk about community, we talk about it takes the village to shape somebody. So within that context, one of the slogans that we always use all the time to encourage ourselves for self-reliance is, please permit us to use the F word here, is to say, now we'll give up, fuck up. We keep pushing. And this is most times when we think about, oh, why is this not working? How are we doing that? And as we keep encouraging ourselves, I picked this picture on Instagram to see how, yes, we want to be educated, we go to school, it is important, But one thing is, this Instagram picture here shows a picture of a lady saying the footage of me running the business and dealing with life issues right now. We move regardless, no looking back. For us, it's not about the life issues that we deal with, but it's about, okay, I am a poet, I'm writing, I'm a graduate student, I'm a mother, I am operating a school. How do we juggle all those together? And in thinking about that is now putting all other challenges that students are going through, not just for them to be self-reliant. Yes, when you face some of these challenges, there may be no way for you to attain self-reliance. And that is why we have youths that are always looking for quick money these days. So our approach, I said earlier, using Osei Tutu oral traditional storytelling, but in doing that is us putting some of these things together. So we use daily conversation, and I will show us an excerpt. We used reflections, poetic rendition, then WhatsApp chat and voice notes, which are inexhaustive, then fluid conversation. So we intentionally added translanguaging to trilingualism, again, because we also had somebody presenting on translanguaging yesterday, which has people using all the languages in their linguistic repertoire without the fear of being judged. Oh, stop speaking vernacular, stop doing this. So that's our approach to this. Now, this is the snippet from our approach. So we circled the media links and documents. We have 4,448. And this is from all, like, this is not even the conversation. This has to do with all the pictures, the way that we talk about so many things.
And when it's not stable, what
About how long we have conversations. If you see our voice call here, there was initial 13 minutes, and we have another one of 1 hour, 32 minutes to see how we go back and forth handling different things. And the last one is also that even the one that I showed that we have 4,432, it is just on one phone. We use 2 different phones to communicate, I think is normal. So you see here also how we still go back and forth, but I didn't capture all that. All the data from these conversations from the chat are what leads to the poem that we have that will be rendering today in multiples. So for our findings, based on all those, we said the dialogic expose. Then we have the poem in 14 verses using Yoruba, English, and Pidgin. This has already been accepted by the Journal of African and Caribbean Studies, so it should be published in the next maybe 1 or 2 months. But we are going to read the first verse and the last verse for us today. From the conversation also we noted the importance of entrepreneurship education and how important it is. You have that at University of Lagos, and Dr. Amaotaiwo is doing a lot of job in doing that in our department. Then we also saw the role of self-reflectivity. Both of us, we got to a point that at the end of the day, we tend to ask, what have we done today? What have we achieved today? What have we gone wrong? So we always want to ensure our students really doing that, our teachers promoting that, or okay, we wake up in the morning, we go, no reflection. So we also, then the last findings is the importance of allyship or safe space. Find your people. Like most times we cannot do it alone. Again, the allyship, the reflexivity, when we do the reading of sense in that. So we will start with the vignette now, which is just basically us reading the intro. And to do that is me reading the short snippet from the paper, and Mr. Bakari will take over from there. Please permit me to stop sharing, and I will share where the vignette is to read. Okay. Dr. Amo, please let us know when we are running out of time, but we are trying to rush it. Please, can you see the screen?
You have 2 more minutes, but then go ahead.
Okay, so here is our vignette, and I'll just quickly read it. That Ismail and I have been college friends since 2008, when we started our associate's degree with the hope to become professional teachers. During our first year of college, closer as student leaders, Muslims, and half-course mates. Half-course mates means my subject combination was social studies and English, while his was social studies and Yoruba. It was a pleasure getting closer to Lasumo, the nickname I fondly call became casual again after our college graduation in 2011 because I relocated to Lagos State while he stayed in Ogun State, both in Nigeria. In 2021, Lasuma and I got connected again through a mutual friend, and we began reflecting on our different paths since we parted ways and how we are doing now. In sharing our joys, highs, lows, and all that life has been to us as college friends of over a decade, we share how schooling, Apple and King 1997, instead of lifelong education by 5 November 2018, is like a war we have been fighting since childhood. This war is never ending. We reflected deeply on how I, searching for greener pastures and needing self-reliance, embarked on graduate schools in the United States, intending to return to Nigeria and establish myself as a leading educator and curriculum specialist. My friend, Lasumo, who is a well-established educator, entrepreneur, and poet, serves as an actively engaging listener with whom I share my challenges and wins all the time since 2021 when we reunited. Even though we have never set eyes on each other since 2021, we as friends share our vulnerabilities, struggles, and growth as we plan not to see education, now schooling, as the only thing we need to survive and thrive as other skills to make us self-reliant. Mr. Bakari, please unmute. Can you hear us, Lasumo? Unmute, unmute, speak. Please check.
It is still muted. Can you help us mute the
Oui.
Okay. Okay, we should hold on. Sorry.
No, he said no. He's unable
You are
to.
not able to. Do you want me to continue then to read on your behalf?
Please continue. Your time is fast spent, but we are enjoying your
Okay, I will continue. Okay, let's move, please. Let me continue and you see if you can unmute. We as friends have embodied resilience, discipline, love, and passion for being mighty warriors, jagun jagun, in our various endeavors. However, families and relatives may at times not fully understand all the challenges at the war front. This concern is more about the proceeds from the war, which is times which we now call black tax. Muwa, always bringing, not knowing what you are going through. In what follows, Lasumo and I engage in the dialogic expose of our struggles and wins while embracing multilingualism, a norm in Nigeria. In our dialogue, going back and forth, using Yoruba, one of the 3 major languages in Nigeria, English, Nigeria's official language due to the colonial history, and Niger. So Pidgin is now referred to as Niger by FARA Class 2021. It would have been awesome for Mr. Bakari. Oh, he's here. So please read.
Thank you, Dr. Yetunde. Yeah, my copy center. I will continue from where you stop, and I think you stop at the. I think that's where you stop.
Yeah, you will start from that part.
Yeah, ẹ̀dá tó bá máa mókè láyé ó gbọ́dọ̀ nímọ̀ tó péye, ó gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ akọni nínú ọgbọ́n, ó gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ọ̀mọ̀ràn tó mọyún ìgbín nínú ìkarahun, ká tó lè jẹ́ ẹni ọgbọ́n tó mumi ọgbọ́n, ká tó lè jẹ́ ẹni òye tó mumi òye pé, ká tó lè jẹ́ ọ̀mọ̀ràn tó mọyún ìgbín nínú ìkarahun, àfi ká jáde nílé, ká délé ọgbọ́n, ká mu bomi ọgbọ́n mu, ká rìn ká délé ìmọ̀, ká bomi ìmọ̀ mu síkùn. Torí àgùnfọ́n tó bá máa mókè láyé ọrùn rẹ̀ àágùn ní dandan. Yeah, I agree that the person wey go succeed must be knowledgeable. I even agree say person need wisdom and the right disposition to make am. And na true you yarn say person must leave their comfort zone to get knowledge. You no fit sit down for your village and claim say you sabi, you got it, but you got to be body and be translocal. Now that time we agree say you sabi, learn and educate our person that need stepping out of one comfortable zone. We are body Jimasun.
Thank you so much,
So,
Mr. Bakari. So that is the chapter 1, and because of time, we will just go to the last, our concluding part. Again, when the final version of it is out, we will let you know. But that's how we were going back and add everything to it for us to reflect. And so here is what we have. One thing as a reminder is please, culturally relevant as sustaining pedagogical approach is really important. It's not just about those that are teaching English as a second language. It's not those that are in other fields, but like we want it to cut across all departments as educators. Then we are advocating for authenticity and situated knowledge. We want everything in school, but also preparing them for the world, which is what the Ministry of Education is also saying now. Then as we wrap up is this last, we try to also incorporate the last verse, which is verse 14 in our poem, which is, you sabi wetin all these stories mean. Would they try tell our story of schooling? How to
Okay. I think we should put our hands together for that. You know, that's an interesting paper, and I find it interesting that they bring in a mix of real life. I'm thinking about it. I have a straight line of thought. The let us take me off. But then I think we should ask them to share the slides with us if they can. The second presenter.
we'll be happy to share the slides.
Oh,
and
thank
once
you.
the paper is fully published, we'll share
Thanks
too.
for catching that. Thank you. The second presenter, the role of educators in shaping.
Yes, ma, we'll share the slide, ma.
All right, I'm helping you to call the second presenter so you can drink water after your presentation. So you continue after the second presenter. So
thank you, ma.
All right. So
yes,
you have
ma.
OBDK. Madam Bumilayo, you have 10 minutes, please, to tell us about the role of educators in shaping African education. Thank you very much. You have the floor.
Thank you so much for having me. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, ma.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm just going to go ahead. Yeah, I'm sharing my slides. If you want me to send it to the WhatsApp, if someone can fetch it there in case we have a disconnection, I could do that as well, but I will try as much as I can. If I exhaust my time and I'm not able to finish the presentation, that's okay too. We can take it from there. But I will attempt to respect the time. Please, because I'm using one computer, sometimes I use two and it's easier for me. If you could just let me know when it's of educators in shaping Africans' education, continuities and discontinuities. My name is Layo BDK. I'm into education. In fact, I homeschool my kids. I'm into publishing, fintech, and any kind of solution architecture. This paper interrogates the post-colonial of colonial mentalities set out to question and to argue on and possibly postulate on in this research.
Wow. How is such a great
structure. If we continue to focus on structure and not on the mental script of the educator, what happened? What do we continue? Yeah, welcome back, the people in the live room. These are the variables that I, went through in the stage. That the moral identity of the educator it's very much direct related to the formation models of that educator. It is how the educator is thinking that will determine whether it's going to be a doctor or it's not. It's going to determine how it's going to relate to the learners under him. The cognitive clarity in response from who what the learners will get is very similar. It's very dependent on the curriculum, but not just the curriculum, but the philosophy behind curriculum. We now have a nation that are taking history out of subject, but we work so hard. We say we are, we're building better. We have lots of research,
It's not the congrats.
different variables are,
The first one.
and I will just skip this and go on. The framework.
Hello, we have
educator to give us the kind of education we're looking at. So there is also Chino Achebe, there is Wale Soyinka, all those people back in the day. Okay. Okay, God will help me because all the recording stop and on is something. The more resonant research out of Africa that I like so much that is similar to this work is by a doctor, I think she's a prof, Janet Hansen from the University of Winchester, and she's someone I respect a lot. She has a framework that is called EHOM, and this is called Engineering Habits of the Mind. What Janet Hansen and a team has done, state, educational board and all of that, they need to start catching people from their elementary and higher school to begin to build education curriculum that will build people that will later become engineers. So they call it Engineering Habits of the Mind. They talk about these 6 engineering habits: the need for improving system thinking, the adapting, problem finding, creative, and all of that. And then they give us 12 habits that we need to inculcate into our education if we're going to have more engineers in the future. Why this matter is that we'll provide this replicable model for cognitive empowerment, because they're saying, watch people. If you look at US into intelligence, like FBI, is that they go very early into the education. They found the very best heads. They use all sorts of things to get, and they begin to engineer them from high intellect so that they can serve. And so this is what Janet is telling us here, that if we begin to inculcate this engineering, when we build people to think a certain way, when they grow up, it's easier for things. And but the difference between this is that this is focused on engineering the mindset of all educators, not just those that will become police officers or soldiers, or those that will have a life of regiment, but everyone that will be an educator. How do we change the way they think? And I have used qualitative, conceptual, and comparative study in drawing this thesis. There is a policy analysis of 5 African countries, which I enjoy so much. A lot has been said, particularly in South Africa, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Rwanda, and Tunisia. I enjoy collecting this data. But the goal of all this, of all that I've put together here, what I found is that if we can reimagine the educator as the archetype, not just a contact technician, okay, but someone that is a cultural healer. When I was in primary school, I had teachers that bullied me so much. I mean, I was always having anxiety going to school. And meanwhile, my mother, retired as headmistress. So I used to go to my mother's school, but my mother was going to have a new baby, and so put me in a nearby school so that she could, for days that she would have to, because our school was farther from where we live. And so when I got to this school, there's a story around my mom and something going on between my mom, my father, and the new wife coming in. And these people were, they're obeisance to the new wife. And I was very bullied. But then there came Mrs. Adelaja that took interest in me, paid attention to me, treated me like a human. That changed my orientation of what learning was. The same thing in my secondary school, there was a Mrs. Onoderu. If all teachers can see themselves as healer, as people that indeed are epistemic dissenter and moral visionary. But is that what we have right now? How do we is there a science to which we can train our educators to have such kind of a certain way of thinking. Like I said, this is a research area that is being, widely researched. We have lots of papers on this. But I find, however, we still have this reform that is focusing on building. We need to have better schools. Yeah, and that's correct. We need to have better curriculum, better books, better universities and all of that. But we forget that you cannot change someone. The change in a thinker has to begin in the thinker's mind. Nobody has to provide the likes of Plato, Aristotle, an external, there wasn't any external system. It was something that began from inside of them and led to them becoming a narrative agency. And we have these findings that I'm not going to read because of my time. I'm not going to read all, rather. What some of the things I found is that teachers are institutionally framed. If we can frame them as neutral deliverer, then we'll continue to have what we have. But if we intentionally and deliberately frame the teachers in the kind of curriculum that we have, if we pay attention to the neuro wiring of these teachers, and we frame them in the military, and we frame people in the intelligence. If we frame our educators, when I wanted to read education, a lot of people stood up because they said I was going to waste away. So you want to? Even my mother was said, "Don't take education." Say, "I'm just begging you, don't become a teacher," because she was like, "You want to be poor?" When I wanted to go to he told me, "Why can't you go to the sciences? You're going to waste away there. You're too intelligent." Okay, it's because we think that it is the lesser people that will take this job, and that shouldn't be. We need to copy from the likes of China, Finland, that brought their best to their educational system. The intent is to add a lot of we have in this aspect of research, that rather than focusing solely on structural reforms or linguistic decolonization, can we focus on a deliberate reorientation of the educator? And bear in mind that educator in this research work, we have people that we call social workers. They are dealing with the moms. They are dealing with the displaced people, and there are a lot of trainings available for mothers, so that they are trained to become educators as well. We don't only send people to the classroom for them to become, what they are not prepared to give us.
Ms. Olubumilayo.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have to stop you right now. This is a very interesting conversation. The educator as a healer. I've been taking notes since. And then
Absolutely.
I find it very interesting that you are just speaking into what we just finished talking about at the AI literacy program. Dr. Yesterday, you recall how we agreed that there are a lot of bodies to then bring into the room, and then educators they should be the ones to bring healings to such heart and such emotional distresses that our students bring into the room. I wish you're able to share your slides so that we'll share it in our Teaching by Design community. This is rich, and I have been writing since, and I'm learning a lot from it. And I know every member of this room, of this panel, is also learning from it. I learned a very hard lesson yesterday. As soon as it was 7, the classroom became almost empty. I don't want that to happen today. So please invite Dr. Yesterday, please invite the next speaker.
Yeah, thank
you.
Thank you, son, again. While we look forward to presentation, we have Dr. Festus Oladimeji Olafare, who will be represented by Mrs. Fumilayo Ojerinde, and they'll be presenting on digital divide among academic staff in Nigerian University. And my understanding is that they started the presentation already because we were cut off. So I'm not sure if they want to start from the beginning or they will continue from where they stopped, right? I'll be on Zoom now.
No, she's here physically.
So the next presenter
Okay, thank you. Like I mentioned earlier, I said my aim is the innovation of emerging technologies, even in the academic ecosystem. Now, you are talking about the DOI. We have the innovators, those that are risk takers, those that are always the first to accept any innovation that is being introduced. We have the early adopters. Those are the pragmatic ones who will take on all of the new programs, new innovations that are introduced into learning. So it goes all through to the laggards, and those laggards are the ones who, for one reason or the other, they will not take this innovation because they believe that it will disrupt things, it will disrupt what they have on ground, and they are also not confident enough to take in the change. They are always raising concerns about changes. However, there's this saying that says that you can't do the same thing and you expect different results. So that is why it is germane for us to take in all these innovations, all these emerging technologies, so that we can include it in what we are trying to teach and what we want, the impact we want to make in us. Another one that I want us to look at is the TOE model. This COE model, it talks about, is talking about three concepts: the technology, the organization, and the environment. In the technology, we want to look at the varying opportunities and the level of technology and infrastructures that are available in institutions by institutions. For example, Abuja, Lagos, these are digital hubs. We can say that the digital development has taken place robustly in all of these places. You can't compare that to rural universities. I mean, in Lagos, in the University of Lagos, I can tell you that we have fiber optics that can even generate up to 5G of quality of internet. We can't compare that to somewhere where they still work with digital internet. So what I'm trying to say is the quality of technology that is available in all of these Nigerian universities, they vary. For that reason, you can't have the same results. So we can say that the digital divide is the unequal and uneven access that that academics have when it comes to this one. Another one is organization. Now, when we talk about this organization, we are looking at institutional support. Institutional support based on what? Based on infrastructure, based on training. You can see that there are gaps because some institutions have opportunity of grants. They are the staff, just to put it like that. So there is more focus on contributions, on development, on different programs that will put them on the edge more than some other ones. Now, it is there's also this one that is called the environment. When you talk about the environment, we are talking about the invention, government invention. We are looking at policies. For instance, there's this policy that mandated that academics must inculcate and must integrate what is it called, technologies while teaching. You must ensure that you put in some form of ICT when you are delivering your content. Now that is on ground and that policy has been made, there are no funding mechanism to support all of this. So these are also gaps, as said by the TOE model. Now, integration insight. Awareness is shaped by individual traits and adoption. There are the government can even decide to provide all these programs. You know, you can organize trainings to help everyone. But then there are individual traits. So that takes us back to DOI. The attitude to the acceptance of or the adoption of this innovation is also something. However, it is important for us to note that for us to make a change, we must adopt all of this innovation. Now, talking about this, this framework helps us to understand the complexities of technology adoption in an academic setting. Let me go to the next slide. Now, going to the next slide, understanding the digital divide in Nigerian higher institutions. Digital divide, unequal access to digital technologies and literacy, gaps in infrastructure, we have gaps in training, we have gaps in institutional support. However, there are some gaps that are they are actually demographic issue that it spans from age. When you talk about age, you can also talk about cadre in academic setting. Those that are seen as the seniors, even if their cadre is lower, the fact that they are given more responsibilities. However, do they have the awareness of all of this digitalization gap that we are talking about? Another one that I want us to look at is the digital divide is impact. It impacts on teaching effectiveness and student engagement. Your understanding of digitalization and inculcating it in what you teach will make your teaching unique, so to speak. Because when your students are aware that you know what's up, let me just put it that way, you know what's up, you know what's the in thing in technology, they will always warm up to you. They know that, okay, you're on the same page with them. You see that there are some of us who are still young lecturers. We still put ourselves in the same page with our students at times. You see that these children will come close to us because they know that, oh, okay, we are in the same generation with them. The gap is not so wide, like those that are the professors and the likes. Now, we have talked about that. Let's look at the digital pedagogy. Focus on inclusion versus exclusion in teaching methods. Academic staff awareness is key to laying the foundation of inclusive learning environments. I'm sorry, I just want to be time. That's why I'm trying to rush this. Now, why the study matters? Bridging the educational gap. Higher education is increasingly digital. Just like I mentioned earlier, that is on digitalization is on the run, and so are our students. So there is need for us to measure up. But access is often uneven. We can't have different opportunities and then we expect the same results. Now, Nigerian universities face significant infrastructural and digital gaps. Gaps in infrastructures, we have gaps in skill, we have gaps in traits, how people react to innovation, how people react to changes. Another one is there's a need for tech-enabled teaching strategies. Academic staff awareness is crucial for inclusive learning environments. Another one is bridging the digital divide begins with awareness. It is important for us to be aware, and when we are aware, we can swing into action. Because of time, let me quickly state this purpose of study. It says to access the purpose of the study, to access the level of digital divide awareness amongst academic staff in Nigerian universities, identify factors influencing access and inclusion. You cannot teach effectively in the dark if your students live online. Now, what are the questions? The questions that are raised. Awareness level. What is the level of digital divide awareness amongst amongst academic staff? Demographic influence. What influence does demography, just like I mentioned, we talk about the age, the geographical location, the gender, and all of that. How does this factor influence awareness? Another one is access challenges. What are the limitations? What challenges limit digital access and usage? Okay, I'll conclude.
You're so eloquent, and I feel like listening to you till evening. But then we have to move on to the next. So many questions came to my mind while you were doing, and then some of those questions were like, for reflection anyway, can grants become an enabler grant? Can it be an enabler of digital divide? You see, from what she said, it's looking like there are possibilities that some people can't write grants. Now others can write, and it's helping their practice as educators. And then there might be digital divide. And also, I thought of quality of its teachers' importance when we talk of digital divide. We don't want to talk about AI because it has been established that it's going to exacerbate the digital divide. We don't want to talk about it. That's already established. But then, thank you very much. That was a very insightful presentation. I mean, that's last one. I was just telling her now that since the phone moved to that side, I think we've had a little bit of stability. But then we get back to our practice as teachers, as researchers. If there is no safe space where everybody says something, we are losing a lot. Imagine we came into this class and said, nobody should talk. It's soliciting. Even in NSA, isn't it possible that we don't want to hear anybody speak until the end of the program? And by the end of the program, you end up having no program because of the rules you have created, because you didn't adapt and you are not being flexible. Thank you, Dr. Fumilayo. In this panel, we used to award doctorates. And we accept it by saying it will take. Thank you, sir. And we move, the last but not the least is Dr. Gloria Almond. Please sit down. You have to stay. She's good. Thank you.
Wow, good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon. As introduced, I'm Gloria Agogo Ogunla from Obafemi Awolowo University. So I'll be co-presenting this paper with Dr. Adewumi Ebenezer Oluwashayo from Obafemi Awolowo University, Department of Educational Foundations and Counseling in Obafemi Awolowo University. Okay, so the title of this paper is Educators as Ethical Architects, Academic Dishonesty, Social Anxiety, and Institutional Intervention in African Investing. So the background, under the background, we have the main concept we'll be looking at academic dishonesty, social anxiety. You could imagine after teaching your students in class, and then at the end of the term, or you give them an assignment, or they have to write an exam. And in the exam, you find out that after the exam, this student did not do well. You can imagine what happened. This is a very smart student, but there are a lot of factors that could actually cause that, which one of them could be social anxiety. So academic dishonesty can be dated back to ancient times. It was first recorded, the first attempt was when it happened in the ancient China, where candidates for civil service tried to cheat, even though they expected that the punishment, they knew that the punishment when they are being caught is to serve a death penalty. That was by Fidelis 2018. In Nigeria, academic dishonesty could be traced back to the colonial days. In 1914, it was first noticed when questions of senior Cambridge local examination syndicate leak. That was by Adeni 2021. Academic dishonesty in this context is an intentional use or attempt to use unauthorized material, information, notes, study aids, or other device or materials in any academic activity exercise to gain undue, undeserved favor or benefit over other students. You can know, most of us are lecturers here. When you give your students assignments, you find out that they keep bringing back the same assignment, especially when you are teaching a large class. You just find out that the same set of prints is coming in as their assignment, as their term paper. So when they do this, it is called academic dishonesty. Academic dishonesty may be viewed
as a range of deliberate, unaccepted behavior that students use to gain an unfair advantage in tests, just like as I mentioned, in assignments, examination, cheating, and then all that. We all see that during exam and then during the student term paper. It also involves students claiming other students' work, paying another individual to do their assignments. These days, you have them writing exam for each other, especially when there's no ID card. You just know that they impersonate each other. They collect money, and then the brilliant one come forward and write the exam for the other person. Okay, so these are forms of academic dishonesty. It includes fabrication, cheating, data classification, plagiarism, impersonation. It's not limited to this. There are still other forms of academic dishonesty. But the most popular, and according to Adeyemi 2010, is fabrication. However, this paper focused on the disposition of these students, of these undergraduate students, to academic dishonesty, which is a tendency that makes people inclined or engage in academic dishonesty, which include the fabrication we'll talk about, the plagiarism, the copying syndrome, and all that. It's also the interest, intention, and determination made by the students to indulge in academic fraud, to have high grades or better results at the end of their course or studies. Reasons. What are these reasons? You wonder, okay, why do students do this? Why do they involve in academic dishonesty? Or why the disposition to academic dishonesty? One of the major reasons is societal emphasis on paper qualification or high grade. Sometimes parents don't even bother to see to know how you're doing in school. But once you come, you're coming with a first class, you'll be celebrated. You're coming with high score, you'll be celebrated. You're coming with all A's. The society will be celebrated. Another one is inadequate preparation on the part of the students for the exam, unrealistic expectation, when they expect beyond their performance, beyond what their cognitive ability can actually perform. Then competition among peers. Nobody wants to fail now. Everybody wants to pass. I don't want to be a failure among my peers. Okay, fear of failure, just like that. Then parental and peer pressure. Peer pressure has to do with, my friend is always having 70, 80 in class, A in class. I too, I want to have A in class. And sometimes, when the student sees that their friend that is involved in such academic dishonesty is doing better than they are, it also makes them want to be involved in academic dishonesty. So these are some of the factors that could trigger the disposition of the students to academic dishonesty. It includes individual factors, which include the personal cognitive ability. Some of these things I've mentioned them as I'm presenting. Then the situational factor, then attitudinal factor, attitude. Some attitude, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so what then is social anxiety? Social anxiety is a common human experience characterized by intense fear of evaluation from others in social situations. Okay, it occurs when the individual is overly concerned about being humiliated, embarrassed, evaluated, or rejected by others in a situation. When a student finds out that, if I don't do well, my peers, they will laugh at me, they will, I will, it's either I read the class or something happened, or, my parents will stop paying my school fees. So many factors can actually lead it that affect their social situation. Students who worry about their schoolwork, also involve students who worry, according to WORA 2007, it said social anxiety involves students who worry about their schoolwork, that they tend to worry about being embarrassed, among their peers. I think I've mentioned that, and in front of others. Okay, what actually is the problem of this study? Academic dishonesty among undergraduates seems to be permitting long-standing issues in our university, especially in southwestern Nigeria. Okay, so it's common everywhere in Nigeria, you know, even it's more prominent with the use of AI. When you give your student assignments, you just then they'll bring it back. Not only assignments, you know, when they're writing their thesis, your projects and all that, you know, they just bring it back to you. So it's prominent and it's a concern. It should be a concern to us as educators, as builders of tomorrow's leader. Academic dishonesty is also we find out that it's polluting the future generation ethical value and compromising the quality of future workforce. That was by Selame Shangwing and Dewey 2018. Okay, so though there have been several studies on academic dishonesty, such as self-efficacy, locus control, and academic dishonesty. Okay. So this study actually looked at how social anxiety could predict Okay, so the theory that back up that this study ends on is social cognitive theory. The research questions is what is the level of this disposition of academic dishonesty among these undergraduate students. And then, okay, you can see that, please. That's the research questions. And this, okay, the study adopted a descriptive survey research design, which comprised all students, the population comprised all students, as you can see, 322, 27,000, okay? And, okay, the result shows that the level of disposition to academic dishonesty among undergraduates in public university is at a moderate level, which is the highest, which is at the highest level at 71.6%. What this implies is that these students they're in two ways. It's likely they get involved in academic dishonesty or they don't get involved in academic dishonesty. It's just at a balance, they are at a great point. Okay, the second one, the results reveal that social anxiety is significantly contributes to dishonesty, to disposition to academic dishonesty among public university undergraduates in southwestern Nigeria. And lastly, the last one was the last result was analyzed using it was a qualitative study, so which involved interview. Some of the authorities were interviewed, and you know what was happening there? Somebody actually said, we are being dishonest by allowing you to continue your sorry about that. It was a very interesting conversation, I mean, interesting presentation. And the question that came up from me that I was reflecting on is how are we driving as educators? Are we driving academic dishonesty by the unrealistic expectations, both in curriculum, in policy that we are designing for our students? And then, how are the policymakers making this dishonesty? I know that I know that in secondary schools in Lagos State now, if I'm not let you know, if your students fail, the principal is in trouble. And then I asked for trouble for what? For children who sleep on TikTok or who all over Nigeria. For students who sleep on TikTok or are always dancing from one party to another, and then they don't read their books and then they fail, then it's my fault as the principal. We are also failing academic dishonesty. Until we begin to talk about these real issues, I think that is when we begin to have the solution. Unrealistic expectations in the sense that we have a third class student now in our graduate who has been winning most of our innovation challenges. As far as the system is concerned, but as far as innovation is concerned, so we propose to the school there has to be prizes for people like
this. So we can make such policy decisions in our spaces too, to reduce, I mean, for that guy, he walked with his head high. He will even come to the graduation with his parents, you know, to say, oh, I have an award. And his parents will be happy. He won $30,000 from Faith Foundation. Wow. He won this amount from. He won't talk about third class again. And now we can localize things like this, even in the class. What expectations are we setting? Most of us are more interested in the high flyers. But I tell you, the ones who are behind, who are slow learners, they need, yes, they have more potential. They need more attention and encouragement. Eventually, they are the ones teaching us, not the one that said so. So, I thank you very much, Dr. Alcohol. Dr. Esina, are you still there?
Yes, ma, I'm still here, and we are all still here. So, what do you say, ma?
Before we go into questions and feedback, or do we do the Mentimeter now?
I think that's what we want to do. But before then, it's just to appreciate all presenters and to also say that, Dr. Agogo, I remember you from last year's presentation, and it feels good to have you here again this year, which means that, let me do advertisement a bit. In Teaching by Design, we have come to stay. Next year, we plan to have more panels. We appreciate our consistent contributors. So do you want me to share the Mentimeter now? People are making comments there already, so maybe people can have 1 or 2 minutes to add their prompts. The first one, 3 things that probably you learned. I can't remember how we framed it, but 2 connections you are making to your work and 1 question you still have. If people are working on that, or if Dr. Amauta will have comments, I'm just going to take a back seat, but I can share people's response for you to see. And it's anonymous. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Chair. When is the audience going to have the time to make comments on this question?
I asked her to just give her own feedback, then the audience will give.
Well, the time will be gone by.
Madam,
audience, please give your feedback. Let audience give their feedback, and maybe we will use what we have.
For something to be anonymous, it means that it should be useful. How do we get that?
On the WhatsApp.
Will you put it on our WhatsApp group?
The response, right? I'll do that.
Anonymous message you got, so that the
presenters can.
The presenters can have it. So questions.
Yes, I will.
There. We have only almost only 5 minutes. 1, 2.
I'll be 12 minutes. 7.
1, 2, 3. Please, we have all the questions. Let's pause. Let's know who you are targeting, who your question is targeting, and then start. Okay. Number 1 question.
Okay. Yeah. You want me to ask?
Did you raise your hand earlier?
I didn't. I just said we needed.
Okay. Someone raised hand. Right? Okay. 1. Please go ahead, sir. Quickly.
Okay. Just a comment, and I think it's general. I want to appreciate the presenter from on the education of teachers as leaders. I think that speaks to the fact that some of the issues we were raising yesterday, that teachers are critical and crucial in the process of driving education. They are under pressure. The whole system is suffer for it. When they are good and they do their job well, you know, even if, as it were, you have a faulty, written document, you can still, breathe life into it and make the best out of it. So I want to appreciate that presenter for giving us that wonderful percent. Another comment I want to make is about the presenters, maybe the ones that presented online, maybe on-site. I understand the position of LSA. We are all emerging scholars. We take it, a little bit on ourselves, not to be so hard. But I think as a part of learning and as a form of mentoring, your Bible, if you are presenting a PhD, you may not have your 15 minutes, depending on the mood of your. But standard practice 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, you have to run through chapter 1 to 5. All of the important of the thesis being well presented. So if you have 15 minutes, I think this is standard time. It's a standard time for the LSA has given 15 minutes. You should be able to run us through your introduction to your findings and your conclusions, possibly. So I want us to pay attention to that, so that it is not ideal when we come to listen to a research paper and we cannot, have access to your methodology, we cannot have access to your findings, we cannot understand the implication of your findings on what you have done. I think we should all know that.
Thank you. Time management is part of best practice for educators. Thanks for pointing that out. There was actually no question, all feedback.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. In 1 minute, sir.
So I thank all the presenters. Well done, in spite of the difficulties.
Yeah.
I will make one question. It's a suggestion, it's a rhetorical question. You said we must adopt all of these innovations. In view of what you said, so I wrote it down. In view of what technology did today, do you stand by that?
Oh.
You see, because so it's a rhetorical question, and I'll tell you why I'm asking. We cannot accept wholesale the marketing of technology as something that is compulsory. There is no research that proves that technology improves teaching and learning.
Yeah.
It's what this whole thing started in 2021 during COVID. The push we are having is by people who want to sell products. As educators, we must exercise our agency to think this through and not support the people who want to sell products for tech bros.
So
I didn't mean it that way. What I was trying to say is that if there are perceived emerging technologies that can actually impact what we are doing as academics, we should not say no to it. We shouldn't turn our back against it. That's what I was trying to make. Maybe that's.
But there are limitations, and we have to.
Sure, we are going to raise ethical control on everything that we're doing. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I believe in most of my recommendations in my research is we need to know what fits what.
Yeah.
One size does not fit all. And that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for that.
Well, my question is it possible to define failure in academic sector? Because the word failure is very demoralizing.
Yeah.
And trigger academic.
Yeah, the word thank you. We have the meet. We want to record you. So you define failure.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It's very possible. It's very possible. Just like the example she gave about the student third class, that sometimes people out there, it's just not putting too much emphasis on grading, on grade. When you come out with first class or second class, you're good. Even with third class, you're good to go. And that's why we have the technical school then. I don't think it's still functioning like we have. They're not practicing it the way.
And government has put a policy now. It's free.
Then everybody wants their children to go to university. Everybody wants their children to go to
school now.
Wow.
Federal.
And then
I think that's better.
If you do that, then you can tighten the other end that for the outcomes you really want. Because it should be fed back into the economy to solve problems. So if I'm giving you 45,000 here, I can ask you for better results at the end. Because I don't want you to come to class hungry. That's good. Thank you for that. That Lagos State or generally?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well,
New Tibet innovation. It has started. New Tibet innovation. It has started. The example started.
Okay. All the presenters, excellent.
yes.
Share those online and those on site. Your topic is so interesting, dishonesty.
Yeah.
It's something that bothers us as classroom teachers. But come to think of it, how to direct this question. When exactly can we trace that dishonesty? When do we find ourselves there? You can remember when there was one notice tribe then that all these mushroom notice and proper school started. And that is very failure. And when they shift the minimum qualification, minimum rate for investor admission, before my set was said, minimum of 6 credits. Why will they raise A, B, A5? If you continue to stand on that point, we will not go anywhere. And why are we doing that? Because we are sponsoring people that have these schools. Our person that have school out there, they will bring candidates, come there, you get admission by put or by all means. So if we really want to track failure, we need to go back. Are we after money or after imparting knowledge? So please let's look at it in a more realistic way, because it boils down on classroom teacher. Everybody will point hands at me in my school. That teachers, we are the courses. But behind there, you have the father, you have an uncle sponsoring you, open a school for gain purpose, and it will be people on their graduates, just SSC older, most of our students, you see SSC older, school start failure in a public, in a private school, and they'll be collecting maybe 150,000 per term and doing crazy things. Wow. I know this is I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut this short, but this is an ongoing conversation that we also need to sit and talk about. Because as it is today, I consult for some schools, and I'm not an advocate that schools have to enter the classroom. But after some time of practice of about 10 years, I came to recommend to the National Council. I joined one of their think tanks, not NLC. TLC said that please, we need auxiliary teachers. And those are the SSCs who are very brilliant. Yeah. I can tell you, ma, some of those auxiliary teachers who are SSC teachers are better than that. I am not using this to say that is the best. I agree. But if these people can do it, put them in a 1-month training and let them mentors for them and let them do the job and get lesser salaries. Yeah. What's the usefulness of putting my mother in the class? And then she has like 5 of us who she's feeding. And then the stress from home is not allowing her to do her job, even if she wants to do it, because she needs money. But if I get somebody who has real 9 A's, and I can train her for 1 month, I will be happy to be the Minister of Education who approved that person as the auxiliary teacher assisting my mother's 8th grade who is working in the classroom. And lastly, we have him.
Thank you. I want to shift my question is like a contribution. The last academic. Now, as teachers, as lecturers, I'm talking about experience. One of the federal universities in Nigeria, I know the role that some of our professors played when I was doing my master's. I know some of my colleagues that was not merit from it. You may be one that write it. If you look back in when you write, I'm telling you, my stories. I want to graduate. I need to get job for that. What about that? This is super education for all of us as teachers. And that the conversation will not stop here. Now, what are we doing? What are we doing? We'll continue to be this war. But what's the future of education in Nigeria? Secondly, one remember what happened in Kaduna State. I have tried that. I'm asking the teachers to go and make it. And most of them are complaining. People are complaining. You see, this topic is at the moment. And it's something that works for, like I said, not just for this conference alone, but to go back to our schools. Let's go and please something that lastly, during this fight, we all know what happened. When listeners are not paid, we are hungry, we come to that and speak something I'm going to go out from that show. So that are, who start to their students, nobody remember them. And now somebody now today is calling me, boy. Everyone was sending me 20,000. I think I have to ask why he was sending me to that. You should understand what I'm saying, man. So that should be looked into. I'm directing it to the president that is the contribution. We not that job guys, the students look. We have our own areas. These people are almost out of the system, but must come in. It's like a culture in the system that are hungry and go to class, don't have money, And the student just come to you and introduce you with someone. Say, okay, I'm only trying to type of payment. Without saying anything, you know what that means. The next thing you need one access for the matric number. You already, we are spending money. So please, let's see how we can salvage this situation. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. We are hoping that this don't go yet. We are hoping that our Zoom will give us a few more minutes for Dr. K to give our contribution. Thank you so much. We need to look inwards as educators. We need to.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good to see you again. Welcome back to Nigeria. What I want to ask is that